One clarification for the Minister. So in his speech, he referred to one of the policy pillars being our reasonable, calibrated approach to discussing such views in public, referring to religious issues. Now, I want to refer to the Minister's citing of the Institute of Policy Studies 2024 survey on racial and religious harmony, and the headline statistic in Annex C, where it stated that 65.4% of respondents rated Singapore's racial and religious harmony as high or very high, and this is on the uptrend from the last time the survey was run. Now, of course, this is a heartening statistic, but there is some nuance to it. That same report highlighted that there was a perception gap between what the Chinese majority felt versus our minorities, quite a significant one, as well as a perception gap between the younger generation and the older generation. The below 35s, the 35s and below, felt that racial and religious harmony was worse than the older respondents. So my clarification for the Minister is, would the Minister consider recalibrating that reasonable and calibrated approach that the government has taken to racial and religious harmony in Singapore, given these findings? Maybe it's perhaps not working for certain demographics, such as our younger Singaporeans, who may feel that safe spaces, as my fellow member referred to, can be more open, because if you're constantly wary of tripping over whether it's actual legislation or perhaps unseen OB markers, perhaps these conversations might not be had in the most open and respectful manner.
As I listened to him, and I think this is a point he might have made in his maiden speech as well, all these fora that the government talks about are curated. They are not quote-unquote real fora. Real fora is where people come and they can speak whatever they like. We have many examples of such real fora. Look around the world. The United States, you have such fora. Are we colonized in our minds so much that we have to continue to hark back to these theories which have failed all around the world? What's happened in the US? What's happened in the UK, where they have all these fora that you refer to? What's happened in France? What's happened in Germany? Go look at the statistics. The far right in Germany is getting into power. The far right in France is now getting into power too. Because when you allow such free-flowing expressions without any kind of legal framework, what's going to happen? Identity politics. What will be the identity politics in Singapore? I'm Chinese, you are Chinese, vote for me. Why you want to vote for that Malay or that Indian? So you have GRC systems. You have Maintenance of Racial Harmony Act. Why don't we look at what we have and objectively ask, is it better than what is there elsewhere? That's the first question. Is our situation better than what you see in the United States, in Europe, in many Asian countries? Yes, no. If the answer is yes, what has worked? Something has worked. I have listed the things that have worked. Now, is it perfect? No. I said it's work in progress. Perhaps it will always be work in progress because of the deep-seated human emotions. And I think it is very pertinent then to say, how are the demographics working out? Is there a difference? Are the younger people less accepting? Is there an issue? I think that is something that should be looked at. But the answer then is not to jump immediately to models which have failed miserably everywhere else. The answer is to say, how do we reach these people? How do we get them to come and talk? Now, these so-called curated fora, all it means is a safe space is created, different people with different views come together, moderators come in, they discuss. It's hard-hitting, and on substance, nobody pulls their punches, but they are respectful. And as I said earlier, there is nothing to stop Mr. Low or anyone else from organizing more of such on their own terms, as long as you don't insult any race or religion, and hopefully you will encourage people to be more respectful. But the answer is not to do away with the Maintenance of Racial Harmony Act or Maintenance of Religious Harmony Act. That's a false solution. That simply means that you're colonized in your minds. I'm not saying Mr. Lowe is, but I frequently read, from often foreigners telling us, advising us on how we should run our country. And among that would be, you shouldn't have all these laws. I say, look at yourself first before you prescribe to me.